Hi, I'm Tony Lale. I'm a fractional CMO, and I'm here today with Grant Ekstrom. He's the managing partner of Emerald City Solutions. We're going to talk to you about how to protect yourself from business email compromise. How's it going today, Grant?
Doing well, thank you.
So, business email compromise, kind of a fancy word. You said, hey, I talk about this all day, every day. Well, tell us what it is and how cyber criminals use it.
Yeah, real simple. It means you got hacked. So business email compromise is probably either number one or number two on our hit list for things for compromises that happen the most or hacks, trailing potentially just behind ransomware. So what happens is a email account is compromised by a bad actor. So that's somehow they either doing a phishing attack against somebody. So they're sending emails specifically looking to get the credentials to get into an email account, or they're just stumbling across something on the dark web. But ultimately, what happens is that once that person gets access to the email account, they might be in there for months. And they're going to go undetected, and they're going to be looking for a potential financial transaction that might happen in the not too distant future. They might try to reroute payroll if there's nothing big coming down the line. They might, potentially try to attack your contact list. All sorts of different things. I mean, we typically say follow the money. So that's really the impetus of why they're there, is that they're going to find some way to extort or extract money from yourself, from your employer, clients, something along those lines.
So really it's taking if I'm hacked, if my email is compromised as an individual, they may look at what I log into, what systems I log into, and try to hack those systems, or not even hack them. At that point, they have access to them.
And that's the scary part about the email account, is that if you get access to an email account, you start thinking about, where do all password resets go? They go to your email account. So that's like the holy grail from an attacker's perspective, is taking access of somebody's email account, because you can get access to just about everything from that point. Obviously, multi-factor has made that a lot more difficult. We'll talk a little bit about that later. But once you're in there, you can impersonate the person of that email account, and people don't know. And so a couple of carefully crafted emails can raise all sorts of havoc. It's a scary thought.
Yeah, well, especially with all the remote workers and remote work that's happening these days in all kinds of different industries. Everybody kind of moves in and out of their business situation into their personal situation on the same device sometimes. So what is available to companies who want to protect themselves from this? How do you do that? What's your advice?
Yeah, it's a multi-tier approach. Unfortunately, this is where the human being comes into play pretty significantly. So, like I said, multi-factor is probably one of the most effective tools to stopping an email compromise, because you're requiring something other than a password to get into that account. Pretty much every modern email platform out there has it. It's just that we find that a lot of end users are not exactly thrilled with it, but it's become very easy to use. So I think that's probably the number one. Training is a big part as well. And so making sure that staff know what to look for and have been trained to understand the differences between an email that is legitimate and one that potentially looks legitimate. And they're getting really, really crafty nowadays, the bad actors. They're changing .com to .co and buying domains that look identical to somebody that you might work with. But they, like I said, they drop the M off of .com. And so unless you're really, really looking close, it's hard to detect some of these things. We get emails all the time that say that Microsoft's doing maintenance on our accounts and scan this QR code. that QR code is not from Microsoft. And so they're getting very crafty. And that's the concern, is that even as a professional, I look at some of these and go, oh, it's, I know what it is. But to the normal eye, they look legitimate. So really having a good training program for staff to understand what looks good, what isn't, and being able to decipher that pretty quickly. So I think those two are probably the top that you'd want to have in play. But there's obviously many more controls that can be in place to help with that. But that's a good start.
Well, it's a big, scary world out there, and just want to let everybody know that Grant is available for a conversation if you want to talk to him about how your network is set up, how your business is set up, where there might be vulnerabilities, what might be able to be done to fix those. It's well worth an hour of your time to just walk through a conversation with Grant.